How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Pan Geekery Podcast, a weekly live video podcast celebrating all things geek from an all-diverse perspective. And we talk about TV, film, movies, I said that already, video games, and all the things surrounding every nook and cranny of fandom. My name is Earl. I'm an actor, improviser, based in Los Angeles, California. And my favorite artificial color is blue. Or my favorite artificial flavor is blue, I should say.
Oh, God. It was like artificial color. Pretty sure the sky is blue naturally. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Zhang. I'm an actor, writer, gamer, model, and artist. And I really love blue Jolly Ranchers as well. Blue raspberry. Right. And mystery flavor. So white mystery flavor from Airheads.
That is a pretty good one, the white mystery flavor.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Hey guys, my name is Caitlin Fay. I'm a writer, director, actor, and a singer. And I'm not sure I understand the question. You're asking for our favorite artificial
flavor color.
Yeah.
What does that mean, though? I mean,
I don't know. It's the first time it came to. I didn't think about a question before.
I don't really know what that. Okay, well, I'll just go ahead and say blue, I guess. Also, like blue raspberry, and then also the white. Yeah, Airheads. They have the secret white flavor.
What's your favorite flavor of gummy bear?
Yeah.
Now I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
All of them.
There you go.
There you go.
Like, what is the color of the white gummy bear? I don't even know.
All of them.
The white one is actually pineapple, but.
Oh, really?
Oh, that makes sense. Hey guys, I'm Walter. I'm an actor, camera guy, adventurer, and combat vet. And my favorite artificial flavor would be, I guess, whatever the mandarin orange they use for Gatorade.
Oh,
I like the white.
I like the white. The white one.
Frost.
Yeah.
Frost flavor.
I like the blue
really
ones. So I just like
the icy blue ones.
The icy blue ones specifically.
Give me all the blue things.
Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. I just want to say what's up to everybody in chat right now.
Hi, chat.
Thanks for joining us in chat. Where is my chat? There it is.
Vicky
There's
Wynn.
just no in there.
She's like, I learned that the Airhead mystery flavor is just whatever the batch they had left over at the time.
Really?
Wow.
I didn't know that, Vicky.
Every time.
I did not know that. It always tastes the same to me.
It tastes the same to me.
Yeah. It's like
that's like
sweet kind of
confirmation bias or something.
Who knows? Who knows?
So as you all can see, we are still social distancing, but do hit us up in the chat. Feel free to drop us a line and we will get to your question and or comment as soon as we can. Do check out our new stream schedule that is up on our Twitch. We do have several streams over the course of the week that you can enjoy almost every day of the week. So yeah, join us in one or all of them if you want. Do support us by throwing us a sub. If you do have Amazon Prime, it's free for you, but we still get a kickback. We have some Amazon affiliate links and the tip jar from Stream Elements. So yeah, if your heart so moves you, please do hit us up. So today we are going to talk about a few things, few geeky things. First of all, we do have a special guest today, Neo Edmund. We're going to talk to him for a little bit later on. The first episode of Penny Dreadful, City of Angels, just dropped, and we're going to check that out. We're going to talk about that. Well, we did check that out before this, but we're going to talk about it. And finally, we're going to talk about the first game you ever fell in love playing. I didn't even think about that. Anyway, without further ado, wait, we didn't talk about how everybody's doing. Are we going to talk about that? No, I didn't think we were.
No.
So. Without further ado, let's go into our main topics. Neo, are you ready?
I am ready.
Cool. I just want to introduce Neo Edmund. Neo is a best-selling author, screenwriter, and comic book writer and actor. And his best-selling novel series, The Red Riding Alpha Huntress Chronicles, is currently in development to become a live-action TV series. Wow.
Wow.
Thank you for joining us, Neo.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Sure.
Rodney's been trying to get me in forever, and I guess this works now because we have no place to go. We're all stuck. So
how do you guys know each other? I'm curious.
We met originally in college. And English classes together, yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
And you guys are still friends?
Yeah, that's yeah.
That's
definitely.
so
Oh,
cool.
that's cute.
Yeah. Oh, it's adorable.
That's so cute. Friends forever.
Oh,
So, Neo, what got you into writing?
I just always loved writing since like I was a kid. Basically, I always just wanted to tell stories, and I wrote some stories in high school, and they were never really received very well by my English teachers because they were weird or abstract or Miss Blevins in 11th grade. Ha! How you like me now? Yeah, exactly.
So you didn't like the content of what you wrote, or how you wrote it?
I think some of the stuff I wrote was a little maybe edgier than they wanted for an 11th grade or a 10th grade or a
Describe edgy.
Yeah.
What do you mean by edgy?
Yeah, what's edgy?
Yeah.
You know, like I wrote a lot of horror stuff back then, a lot of monster stuff. In fact, a story that I actually wrote, and I think it was 11th grade. I just actually repitched it to Storm King, which is a company I'm working with. That's John Carpenter's company.
Oh, nice.
And that story, actually, I'm writing the comic script for right now, is going to be in the next year's Tales for Halloween Night, which is presented by John Carpenter. So that's a story I wrote back then, and my English teacher was like, "Are you crazy? What's wrong with you, kid?" And how you like me now, Miss Blevins?
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, exactly.
And potatoes gone potate. So, you know.
that's how it goes.
Who are your guys growing up? You're the authors that you like kind of clung on to.
Oh, geez. I grew up reading a lot of R.A. Salvatore because I love dragons.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Bob Salvatore. He's such an incredibly cool guy too.
Driss Del Erden, man.
Yeah, the Dritz and stuff, and then a lot of Dragonlance and that kind of stuff.
Oh, you just said the magic words.
Said the magic
just
words.
Set Earl off.
Earl just felt a
Having
tingle.
like a brain gasm right now.
I know.
He's tingling.
Give him ASMR.
He loves Dragonlance. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Tracy
Grew up reading that
Margaret
stuff.
Lewis.
So, because I play Dungeons and Dragons, that's all we did in high school.
Well, we found out on the stream on Tuesday that Earl's ideal partner is a dragon. So, or maybe that was I not allowed to? Okay, never mind.
What was that? Is that a secret? That was behind the scene.
The characteristics of a dragon. Not a dragon itself.
You want someone who can fly?
Yeah. Totally.
Oh, never mind. I was gonna say something, but
No, Walter, don't.
What's up to Vicky Win and Vic Chi Winna in the chat?
Ooh, the Vics are here.
The Vics, Vic Win and Vic Chi Winna.
Vicky's here.
Neo, I'm reading on your bio that you've actually been an actor before, right? You started
back in the day, yeah, when I was young, in my dark years.
You were in Buffy?
What?
What's that about?
That was a lot of background monster stuff I was doing.
Oh my god!
Wait,
what kind of play?
That was a long time ago.
No. You're gonna talk about it.
Now you have to talk about it.
You have to talk about it.
You put Buffy on your bio. You're gonna have to talk about it.
Well, because there was, I was like doing all this crazy, stupid stunt work on Power Rangers, and then
that's
kind
so
of just
cool.
transitioned into that. So,
like the original Power Rangers.
Yeah, my
MMPR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Putty Patrol. So
that's so cool.
I was a Putty Patroller.
No way.
Yeah.
Did you get
when I was a kid?
They shot some of that stuff here then? Like
all of Mighty Morphin, the original, was shot here up in basically up near Magic Mountain.
Right.
Oh, nice.
A lot of it was shot up in those areas, and just up in the blazing hot ass desert.
Oh,
so
wow.
you would shoot the stuff
those hills
with like the non-combat, the non-henshin rangers, right? Is that stuff?
So I mean, it was a lot of like the they were out of costume in the first two seasons. They were using all the Japanese footage from Super Sentai for the. And then they started actually transitioning into some of the footage, but you can tell when you watch the show, like the old grainier footage was the old show. And then,
right.
But then like when the Rangers were like just hanging out in the park, it's like, they keep getting jumped in the park by the buddies. So,
wow. Were you a demon on Buffy? Like one of those baddies? Who did you play?
There's a lot of background monsters.
So you played a bunch of different characters, basically.
Just on maybe a dozen episodes or so, I guess. I don't know.
That sounds like a lot to me.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot,
but it was all background work, right?
Well, I mean, it was like there was combats, fight stuff and everything. So
did you get your SAG or AFTRA out of it?
Yeah, that was a long time ago though. So that was a different world, man. So
It's very different now.
yeah, because Power Rangers was a non-union show, and that was a big complication with the union.
Really?
Wow.
Still a
Wow.
non-union show.
Interesting.
Yeah,
These are so different.
that's a whole.
Yeah, it's kind of a giant mess.
Never knew that.
It was terrible. So
Yeah.
so nobody ever got any royalties off that, but Mr. Simon got rich, so
He did. Absolutely.
yeah, billionaire, but
So,
anyways,
anyways, your
Stumbled
He's
onto
watching.
that.
your best-selling novel series, right? Red Riding Alpha Huntress Chronicles.
yes, yes,
Red Riding Alpha Huntress Chronicles.
Mouthful.
right.
So, which is right behind you in your.
Yes, there's a
reading
first book, second book, third book
Yeah.
up there.
When did you start creating that, and how did you get inspired to write that?
Yeah, how I got inspired, I don't know. Had this idea of like Red Riding is like having the power to transform into a werewolf, and really getting into that and figuring out what that means. And then it was like, well, it's not just a werewolf like a monster; it's more like a superpower, And then just started developing the story. But actually, that English class, one of the English classes that Rodney and I were together in, actually workshopped the first chapter or two of the first book way
That's
back
cool.
then. So yeah, Rodney would have given me notes and feedback all the way back then. So
That's
way
amazing.
Wow. And now it's going to be turned into a show?
we're working on a thing. Yes. So there's I can't get into the details right now.
Good luck.
So,
Good
but
That's so
it-
cool.
We should be looking forward to it.
I hope so. We're so close.
Yeah.
I mean, we're super close on things, and right now Hollywood's in a weird shutdown mode.
Right.
Mhm.
So there's a lot
Definitely.
happening like this, a lot of meetings that look like this. So everybody's just sort of adjusting to the new reality of how things are working.
Do you have a preference for live action or animation adaptation of your novels?
I mean, for this particular project, we definitely want it to be live action. So I have another one I'm doing with Storm King right now called Grimstown Terror Tales. It's a graphic novel series, and that's definitely looking towards animation. So,
That's cool.
and, the first issue of that's we were going to drop it on Free Comic Day, which is was supposed to be next weekend. Or
Yeah.
I know.
This
I
weekend,
used to
this
go
Saturday.
to Free Comic Book Day.
This Saturday. So yeah, I mean, it was everywhere. It's at every comic shop. It was just this amazing thing. And this year it's not happening. So
Yeah.
It sucks. A lot of things aren't happening.
A lot of things
yeah,
are
exactly.
happening.
So
Yeah, Comic-Con just got canceled.
yeah, I know. I do. I go to like
Like-
25 cons a year, where I
Yeah.
exhibit as a.
Man,
LA Comic-Con still hasn't officially canceled, so we'll see.
Really?
We'll
Yeah.
see. Anime Expo canceled. I mean, right now,
Yeah, Anime
I
Expo
think the
canceled.
convention center is literally like a triage, like mobile hospital right now.
Gosh.
Like, so I don't.
and they're gonna have to disinfect that. Like,
Yeah.
Right. That's a
Yeah,
lot of surface area.
So right now, it's more about keeping people alive than doing cons, I guess. So,
Absolutely.
as much
Yeah.
as it sucks, but
yeah,
it is what it is. So
I can download your books on my Kindle, right? And just read from the comfort of my home.
sure, I could send you some Kindle for.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Well,
hooking it up.
I need money nowadays, so it would be nice to get a book for free. No pressure.
I can
No
hook you up
pressure.
with some Kindle files. Yeah.
Yay!
I want to read them.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, why not?
just yeah. So I guess even now you couldn't even, since you're sort of talking to producers about that, like we couldn't even talk to you about like dream casting.
Or could you?
We could talk about dreamcasting, but I mean, since it's like an action adventure kind of thing, but it's like a younger cast. I don't,
So
tend
it's
to-
a young adult novel, right?
Yeah. I mean, Red's like 17 in the first book, so. I
So
mean,
your main character is a female?
yeah,
Well, it's Red
That's
Riding
pretty cool.
yeah, it's Red
Yeah.
Riding Hood.
Well,
yeah.
I just I like it when men write female protagonists because I feel like it doesn't happen a lot. I mean, it does happen, but like I just appreciate when a female character is like a lead in anything. I guess you could say.
Of course. That makes sense.
I'm always like,
Not
oh, the
bad.
lead's a girl, but because it's kind of in now after Hunger
Right.
Games, kind
Yeah,
of
exactly.
the idea that a sci-fi fantasy movie could have a bankable female lead is something that's only happened within the past 10 years or so, if not
Yep.
less than that.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, I know
Alien and
about it.
Aliens. I don't know why it didn't continue on after that.
But wasn't that
Because of-
character originally written as a man? and then they decided to
Was it?
cast.
Yeah, it was a casting
Sigourney
choice.
Weaver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like Alien 3 happened and like killed the series.
And then it just killed it for the next 20
And then
years.
Alien 3 happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't talk about
So
it.
I know.
I'll just cry.
I know.
Yeah, true.
Alien 3.
Okay, so Dreamcast then. Okay,
Right.
Because we don't know it's younger, so let's go with.
So not Jennifer
If you were
Lawrence.
making this in
Yeah.
early 2000s.
It's tricky
Yeah.
because usually
Jennifer
with,
Lawrence.
But Jennifer Lawrence, yeah.
with like these younger skewed casting, they usually go for like unknowns, you know. So,
True.
Right.
Yeah.
but I mean, there's some characters in there, you know. There's definitely some of the older adult characters. You know, there's this sort of goblin monster guy who's a minion of the villain. You know, every time we're in a room, I'm like, we got to get Mark Hamill, and they're like, yeah, sure, okay. So,
Yeah.
Can we?
But
I
can
mean,
you?
it's one of those things where it's like, you know, if you actually, you know, have a deal going with, you know, a network, then that becomes a different thing. But
Or how about let's do this? Let's go with the 80s. If you were doing an 80s cast of the show.
Oh, yeah. Only 80s
God.
celebrities.
And just remember too, in the 80s, they had like 20 plus or even sometimes
Right.
25 and older playing 18-year-old or
Right. Who
15-year-old kid.
who from the 80s would be a badass like Red Riding with werewolf superpowers?
From the 80s.
From the 80s.
80s.
Good.
Well, let me
Teenage
check my
actor?
memories.
You can go
Yeah,
80s
exactly.
or 90s. How about 80s or 90s? Let's go
80s
with
or
that.
A
90s.
writer,
Oh.
maybe?
If it was 90s, it would have been Jessica Alba because Dark Angel.
Oh.
Dark Angel.
Actually, Dark Angel came out in 2000, so that probably would
Did
have
it?
been like early
Jesus.
2000s. Yeah.
Well, she would have been younger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
She was already young in Dark Angel. She was like 20 tops. She
But
was super young.
but
Yeah.
his
Her
character
first thing was like
17.
Oh, the
96. Yeah. Flipper. I don't know.
Who
Like,
was the quintessential
Would
female
Alicia Silverstone
protagonist?
work?
No, she was.
Silverstone.
I think she was too typecast already.
It will
As
be
Yeah.
Winona
List.
Ryder.
Younger, no,
Hold on, we don't even know what his character's like. Like, how
we
would
don't
we
know.
know? What would we know?
Okay, let's go.
Like-
That's a good segue.
Yeah,
Tell us
like
about this,
what is your
main
character about? Yeah.
Red Riding Hood.
Well, this story, I mean, this is like it's an action adventure reimagining of Red Riding Hood. Basically, she returns to her hometown looking for her grandma, trying to find out who she is, learn about her forgotten past. And when she gets there, she finds out she has she has to rise up and become this alpha huntress with these like sort of mystical badass superpowers. The thing is, she doesn't necessarily want to. So it's all very thrust upon her, you know, like, oh, you're going to be this hero. And she's like, I literally just came here looking for my grandma and trying to find my family. And now you expect me to be a superhero and fight these evil monsters. Not really down with that,
Yeah,
but,
the
you know,
reluctant
she's a
hero, yeah.
badass and she perseveres and, you know, so she's fearless, but
Okay.
constantly, you know,
Kirsten
living in
Dunst.
terror.
I was gonna ask.
That tells me all I need to know. I don't know. I could see her playing like a rebellion, or no, not rebellious. but like-
This
was-
all kind of points
okay.
back to the problem that
Unlikely
there
hero.
weren't a lot of like
no, exactly.
badass female
yeah.
characters
Exactly,
out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
exactly
True,
warrant.
true,
and,
yeah.
and that's shifting finally.
Right.
Finally.
But,
Yeah.
you know.
I was gonna ask. I unfortunately haven't read your series yet, but so the main character, when she like begrudgingly comes into her powers, like what exactly does that look like? Does it follow like the trajectory of like Spider-Man, where he like has an awkward like puberty phase where he gets into his superpowers, or is it something that's like more like naturally?
Yeah, so there's actually the alpha the power of the alpha, there's like other people that could have potentially received the power. It's like there's the male love interest, his name's Wolfgang Helheim, and then there's this other character named Iseether, who's this like sort of rich bitch evil, you know, wannabe that wants the powers for herself. And there's a scene, I don't want to give away too much, but she's literally trying to force Red to transform into this like into her power so that they can actually like steal her powers from her mystically. And it's a very big, crazy scene. So, but our werewolves, the way we're trying to like, we've had a lot of different artists go at it and just trying to figure out how to make a werewolf not look like monstery so much is like if you were going to dress up as like a badass, like Red Riding werewolf and go to Comic-Con, you know, like can cosplay that, like, what would it look like, you know,
Yeah.
where it's still like, it's not like monstery and hairy and like
More
a
Princess
badass.
Mononoke.
we don't want a Thundercat. Exactly.
Less Lupin.
No
Yeah, less
Thundercats.
Thundercats. Exactly.
Aw,
Thundercats, but we don't want her to look like a Thundercat.
Thundercats. Okay.
Thunder,
We
thunder.
don't want her to look like Chikara or something.
Yeah, Hasbro comes after you.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Looks suspiciously like Panthro.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Well, that's exciting. Wow. This just
That's super cool.
got real. Like,
All right.
I'm
So,
so excited.
I'll have to send whoever wants copies. I'll send you guys some stuff, and you can read it. And then we can
I
come
want to
back
read
and do this
them.
again.
I'm reading
Yeah,
more
read
now.
it.
So
yes.
Yeah. Then we
So,
can come back and do this again sometime later.
yes,
So
for your
you're-
press junket. Sorry. You go get back.
Junket.
yeah. So you're friends with Marv Wolfman?
Yeah.
Who created like Teen Titans and
Yeah,
Blade?
yeah.
Like, what's you guys'
No big
relationship?
deal.
Do you guys like edit each other's scripts? Like, what's going on?
I had met him originally. We used to have this LA networking group called Comic Book Sunday, and it was this like group of professional like comic and film industry people that got together every like one Sunday a month and drank beer and hung out.
Nice.
And it became this big, it started out with just a bunch of guys, like maybe 12, 13 guys. And then it blew up to like there were 200 people showing up, you know, and
Wow.
it was amazing. So, and I met Marv there originally. And then we became friends, and we actually worked together on one script. It did not get produced, but he had gotten hired to write the script for China Film Group. And he was working on Epic Mickey 2, and he like literally called me up one day and he's like, "Hey, you want to co-write this thing with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it was super nerve-wracking to work with him at first, but you know, once I got through that first like week of it, you know, then it got really fun. So yeah,
Super
yeah,
cool.
Marv's a
Nice.
super cool guy. So
Oh, and
I think
speaking of, oh,
Rodney,
sorry, go ahead.
Rodney's met him, right? Like at my house.
Yeah, he's nodding. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Speaking of talking about like going that track of writing, like, so what would you say to people that are interested in, you know, starting writing novels or young adult novels? Like, how do you start that process? Even like, do you do the outline? Do you do characters first? You know, or what's your process?
My process, well, it's going to be different for everyone. So it's like, you know, it starts out with an idea. For me, it's like I'll have an idea and then I'll like sit there and just free write and mess around with it and see like, is this just an idea, or is it an actual story? Is it a book? You know? And because a lot of times we start out with like, I got this great idea, and then you just start writing, and then you're like, you know, a little ways in, you're like, I don't know if there's a story here so much as an idea that sounded cool at the time, you know? So you really need
I
to,
get that.
yeah. So, I mean, I think it really is about like, you know, starting with that free writing process and then figuring out what works, and then outlining and figuring out the characters. Writing a novel is like a process of insanity. I don't know why anybody would ever.
Why do people do it?
I don't honestly know. It's just a thing you're
So many
compelled to
people
do.
do it.
You're just compelled to do it. And
When I was a kid, I used to sit down and be like, I'm going to write a novel, and I'm going to start today, and I'm going to finish in a month.
Like NaNoWriMo.
NaNoWriMo?
I was a
NaNoWriMo.
fucking dumbass. Yeah,
You're
I was like
like,
11. I was like, I'll finish this in a month.
Sure, yeah, it'll
Didn't
take about a
happen.
month. How long
Yeah.
does it take? I don't know, a month or so.
300 pages, no big deal.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. I didn't even understand how story structure worked, let alone have the stamina to write a freaking novel.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
kind of got to start at some point writing, so and then
That's
actually
awesome,
finish.
though. Yeah,
Eventually,
and
you
finish.
actually have to finish a thing. So
Yeah. Do you do NaNoWriMo? Do you believe in that?
I am not a nano. I've never done it. The last few years, I've actually had assignment work going on during nano. So
So it just doesn't happen.
like 2 years ago, I wrote that Pink Power Ranger book for my NaNoWriMo month.
Oh, really?
Oh,
exactly.
snaps. So you have done it.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, I guess.
Not
that was
not
on the-
officially as part of
Oh.
the
It was
NaNoWriMo
on-
So
thing.
you
It was
wrote a
on
Power
Glenn.
Ranger book.
I wrote 2, but that one just happened to fall in the month of November when they gave me the.
So those
Are
are
they-
what, junior
And they hired me,
novelizations? Or?
so yeah, it was. They're kind of like middle grade, but a little edgier. So They're really,
Are they both MMPR novels or?
yeah, they're both Mighty Morphin. One is the Pink Ranger Kimberly, and one is the Yellow Ranger Trini.
Trini.
Yeah,
Trini.
Is it sad? I always wanted to be
R.I.P.
Kimberly and not Trini.
Well, yeah, I wanted to be Kimberly too.
That's what got me into gymnastics.
Ah,
I wanted to be
there
like
you go.
Kimberly. Yeah.
Sample.
No.
Do it!
Don't do it. She needs a neck rest right now. Don't make her do gymnastics.
I'm waiting for my neck hammock in the mail. So
Do you base your characters off people you know?
Not generally, no. I just
Or
I
at
don't.
least like traits that they have?
Maybe I don't know. They just
maybe subconsciously.
they were maybe I don't know. They sort of come to life for me when I'm just writing. I like to do a lot of free writing with dialogue and just figure out how characters sound when they talk. You know, so I'll just write pages of dialogue of them just rambling back and forth, and some of it goes in the book, and most of it goes in the trash. You know, so
Oh.
Are you one of? Oh, sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, are you one of those writers that like wait for inspiration and then it all comes out in one go, or do you like build a practice of like writing every day, even if you don't feel like it?
I try to write every day, though the last month I haven't.
So you're more of a Stephen King, not a George R.R. Martin.
Where you disappear for like.
Well, Stephen King writes every day.
Yeah,
like
he writes every day.
it doesn't matter if he's inspired or not. He's like, I'm gonna write my 6 pages today. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Which,
so
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I try to. A lot of my work has been more like assignment work with publishers I'm working with. So it's a little, it's in a little
That's
different
cool.
space. So it's definitely a transition of mindset when you have an actual deadline and somebody's paying you, and you know the thing's going to be published for sure because there's already a publisher involved. So
Right.
yeah.
I just want to shout out to chat really quick. R.I.P. Tweet Trang,
I
Trini.
know.
Trini.
Yeah,
Oh,
Trini.
Trini.
Thank
She
you.
died.
I
Yeah,
know.
And then you got
Yeah.
Vicky Wynn saying
Really bad.
Kimberly was the oh sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh sorry, Vicky Wynn there made a comment. Kimberly was the dum dum though.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh.
I don't
Kimberly?
think she's a
What?
dumb
She was a dum dum.
I
mean,
didn't write her
I
as a
didn't say it.
dum-dum.
That's just the comments of saying it.
In my book, she's not a dum-dum. So
right.
Yeah.
she's a badass.
I guess she was more of a love interest, right? Who was into her? The Red Ranger guy?
Oh, no, she was
Tommy,
Tommy.
right?
Tommy's,
Green
yeah.
Was it
Ranger,
Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a whole
Tommy's
thing.
love interest.
Well, she was like the popular girl.
She was
right?
the popular
Kinda
girl,
thing.
yeah.
Popular girl.
She's like the Buffy
Trini
of the Power Rangers.
Trini was the
universe.
rebel and like. Quiet.
Yeah.
She was quiet too.
It's been
wasn't she?
so many years. I can't remember
has.
this
It's
show.
okay.
That
It's
show.
been like
was-
25
Do you ever go
years.
to Power MorphCon?
Yeah, I was there at the last one, and
Nice.
I would be there at the next one if
Right.
it happens in August, going into September. I don't know.
Oh,
I hope so.
man.
I would love for it to happen. So
Right.
people keep wanting me to show up in a putty patroller costume, and I'm like,
That'd
I
be
don't
dope.
know. I don't know. I've actually during this pandemic, I've actually been working out a lot. I've dropped a bunch of weight.
Right.
So,
Wow, good for you.
Nice.
but like
That's
the
one of
last
us.
one, when the last one came around, I was looking at myself. I'm like, I am not putting on that spandex. There's no way.
It's
Do you
basically
still like have the mask and stuff too?
No, but I know who does. I have a recreation one that somebody made for me.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
it's
but
basically a onesie or a Zentai suit, right?
yeah, basically. So, because there's the original ones, and then there was the Z putties later, which were more
Right.
just like a lighter, thinner spandex kind of thing.
Wow.
So the original ones were, I don't know, they came from Japan, and nobody knows what that fabric is. Some kind of,
Something.
it did not breathe. There was no, it was terrible. So, but I know who has the original masks, and if I was going to show up
nice.
at Power Morphicon, I could get one from him. So,
Oh.
Wait.
So what is this about, like an alternative free comic book day?
So this weekend on Friday and Saturday, my friend Russell Nolte and I are doing basically like this, like an online sort of free comic book day thing. So there's a bunch of creators that are giving away comics through the Facebook page.
Oh,
very cool.
Yeah. So they're giving away free
Can
downloads.
we post a link?
Yeah, and I'm giving yeah, absolutely. So it's the Alt Free Comic Book Day page on Facebook. And
Wow.
I'm going to be giving away the issue 1 of my new Grimmstown Terror Tales.
Oh my
that's being
gosh!
published with Storm King.
Oh, sweet.
Yay!
Storm King being John Carpenter and Sandy King's company.
Oh
so,
my god!
and then we're gonna do a bunch of panels basically like this, and we got like Kevin Eastman.
No way.
Yeah.
Your voice just cracked.
Earl's
Yeah, I know,
voice is
like,
like,
You just sent Earl through puberty.
That was such a
Yeah.
fan. Yeah.
"Come back and you experience puberty again
Yeah.
right now."
So Kevin, of course, was
Ninja Turtles,
co-creator.
man.
Bring
Turtle.
all your
Oh,
turtle
that's a big
comic
deal.
books, man.
But
That is a big
he also has a new comic series coming out called Drawing Blood. Yeah.
Drawing blood sounds appropriate for these times.
Yeah. So he's gonna they're gonna be talking about that, and I guess they're gonna be giving away the first issue of that, I think.
Cool.
So it's like since there's no free comic day, we're like, well, how can we do something, you know? Because I was going to be at Golden Apple and
Sweet. Yeah.
giving away copies of, the Grimmstown Terror Tales and signing them. Golden Apple makes a huge deal of free comic day.
Oh yeah,
They make it like
they're awesome.
they make it a
Yeah.
mini con. They take over a parking
Mhm.
lot and they have bounce houses and barbecues, and it's crazy. So
I mean, it's a very busy intersection. So
yeah, exactly. So we decided, me and my friend Russell decided, we're just like, we should just do our own thing. So we reached out to a bunch of our friends in comics, and we're just like, hey, you want to be on this thing? So we have a schedule posted. I think it's on the website. Actually, it's Alt Free Comic Day, Alt FCD, all one word.
.com?
.com. Yeah, and that should take you.
AltLCD.com. Cool.
No, FCD, like Free Comic Day. Yeah.
Alt FCD.
Yep.
We have go ahead, Earl.
We have a question from the chat. Do you travel to cons in NorCal at all?
Yeah. So I go to cons everywhere. So I would have been in Emerald City in Seattle like a couple months ago. I hopefully will be up at Rhodes City. What cons are up in Northern California right now?
SAC Anime.
Oh, SAC Anime, yeah.
Silicon.
Oh, Silicon Valley. I do that every year. So that's a great con. So, and now, what's his name? Mythbusters. Adam Savage is now involved in that.
That's so cool that he
They have one in
does all that
San
stuff.
Oh no, that's an anime con.
You remember when
yeah.
WonderCon used to be up in the Bay?
Yeah, it used to be.
It
up
was?
in-
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was at Moscone Center in San Francisco.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yep. Until it moved down here and
Interesting.
into Anaheim. So
And then never left.
yeah, exactly. They were like, "Oh, it's just going to be 1 year," and everybody's like, "Yeah, I don't
Nope.
think so." They're going to stay there forever. So
Well, this is cool.
Paste this into the chat.
yeah.
Yay.
Oh, there's the links.
So,
Yeah, I just put the links in the chat.
Cool. Very cool.
So that's this coming weekend, right?
Yeah, it's Friday and Saturday. We're starting Friday at I think 10, and then going to like 3 or 4, and then Saturday we're starting at 9 with Kevin Eastman.
Okay.
I think Marv Wolfman's on with us Friday at noon. We also
Nice.
have Sandy King Carpenter, which is she's the owner of Storm King Comics. She's married to John Carpenter, so
Yeah,
she's produced a bunch of cool horror movies. They live.
Like, sign my Kindle, please.
Yeah, exactly. So she's going to be on with
My
us.
iPad. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a bunch of cool people that are going to be on there. It's going to be really fun. So, but
Awesome.
it's going to be focused around like the process. So it's like the
Right.
first stuff will be like, brainstorming story ideas, and then like scripting, and then working with artists. And I think we have one of the top people from Kickstarter is going to be on there
Oh,
doing a
Oh.
panel. Yeah, doing a panel talking about Kickstarter. And so, yeah, it's going to be awesome. So
I'm so glad that like everybody seems to be trying to find like pretty cool alternates to
yeah, exactly.
existing events that had to be canceled or postponed and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of online cons popping up now. So the show must go on. The world keeps spinning. We just got to do it. We just got to do it like this now. So
Hey,
Absolutely.
Neo, I just had a question going back to
Yeah.
something you were saying earlier about, now writing for, because you work for someone or a company now. I'm just wondering, like, is it like in the movies when they're, when they have their editors calling you like, hey, where's my 100 pages? Da, da, da.
Oh man, me and Jen know all about that.
Is it like that?
Me and Caitlin have been working on a graphic
Graphic novel
as well.
series.
nice.
So
Female superheroine.
is
Nice.
extremely stressful.
Right.
Yeah.
No. When it's interesting because when I got hired and I was writing those Power Ranger books for Penguin books.
For Penguin.
Yeah.
Nice.
As soon as like we went through the outline phase, they approved the outline, and once the outline was approved and they went to draft, that was the last thing I heard from my editor until the day I turned it in. So they assume once they clear you, like they assume you're a professional, you're going to do your work and you're going to turn it in. Like if I had emailed him and needed something, then, I would have got a response. But basically it's like, they're like, okay, you're good. Go do your writing, and they leave you alone. So
I guess there's pros and cons to that, right? In the sense they give you freedom to do whatever.
Well, I mean,
but then also, what if it's not very good and they're like, yeah, we'll just print it, and you're like,
well, I mean,
I guess unless you're like George R. Martin, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they approve the outline, so they already know the story that you're going to be turning in. Like it's a chapter by chapter outline. Like, so,
that's true.
So like these books have 30, the Power Ranger books are 30 chapters each. So it's like a 30 chapter breakdown. So they know exactly what I'm going to be giving them. They just, they just assume you know what you're talking about or you're doing. So if you're somebody who's very good at getting your homework done in school and all that stuff, which I was not in high school, but then I got better in college. I was terrible in high school and got better in college. So, I mean, so it's like, if you're not good at getting your stuff turned in and like being self-motivated and setting schedules and, hitting a deadline, because if you don't hit your deadline, you're screwed. Like they'll never work with you again. They won't work with you again. So, and as I said, like if you had like a B-list author or B-level writer that always hit their deadline and an A-level writer that always screwed up and didn't hit their deadline, the B-level writer would always get hired over the A-level writer. So, because the best thing you can do the best thing you can do for your editor is turn your stuff in on time. So,
lesson learned for all
that is the number one lesson.
Noted.
Always turn your stuff in on time, and you will get hired. So,
Neo, this is just a question for me.
Yeah.
Which one of the companions of the Lance? Which one? Who are you?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, here we go.
Wow.
Be prepared, y'all.
Oh my God.
We're gonna talk dragons.
Are we going all the way back? I literally
remember we do have to talk about Penny Dreadful.
Oh yeah.
Before the hour is up. So
from all the way to Dragons of Autumn Twilight, like from the original. Yeah. At the end of the last home.
We're going back over 20 years in time in my head.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's like yesterday to me. I'm sorry.
Oh man. You're killing me, man.
It's all good.
Can we do that later?
Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of just sprang that on him, Earl. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. Yeah.
This is a very multi-layered question.
Earl's like, surprise attack.
That's right. I get excited when somebody mentions Dragonlance.
Clearly.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. When off camera.
Me later.
Off camera, yeah.
Awesome.
So Penny Dreadful.
Penny Dreadful.
Yeah, moving on to Penny Dreadful.
Wow.
So that first episode just dropped. We watched it.
Well, we didn't just watch it, did we? We something special.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like taking over.
we shot a reaction video, so yeah. So that'll be out sometime soon. But what did everybody think in general? First impressions.
So like the original Penny Dreadful was like Victorian England, right? Had Ava Green, had those supernatural elements, had like mythical elements where you see like Frankenstein's creature, yada, yada, and it felt very like a contained mythical world in and of itself.
Right.
So now it's like set in Los Angeles, right? Because it's like Penny Dreadful, City of Angels. And so I was really curious because for one, like they're going to delve into like, Mexican gods and goddesses. I'm hoping, eventually they'll get into that because there's different forms of mythology. I wonder
also
if the
American native peoples, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Really know stuff.
Yeah, maybe some stuff that's like lesser known to an American audience because usually we read so much about European mythology.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just gonna throw that down. And then what did you guys think?
I thought it was okay. So my take from all of this, number one, is I highly enjoyed watching that episode with all of you. I really liked hearing people's comments and reactions. It it was nice because certain things would happen and then you guys would kind of echo what I was already thinking in my head. You know? So I was like, all right, I'm not the only one who was bothered by this. But for what it was worth, I actually had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I like the world that they're setting us up with. My main gripe, which is kind of a minor one, is that it feels to me nothing like the original Penny Dreadful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why they needed to even call this Penny Dreadful. They should have just made their own show, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like they were using the name Penny Dreadful just to
get
have
followers.
fan base.
Agreed.
Yeah, right.
And I don't like when people do that. I guess I get it, but it just didn't have the original flavor of Penny Dreadful in any shape or form for me.
I'm hoping there's going to be some kind of connection later on.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a chance that there is. We'll see the connection later, and I think that it's Penny Dreadful in a sense because the original Penny Dreadful is based on like these like magazines,
like dime store novels,
novels
in
that
the
they published,
Victorian
like of monsters and just to scare you. So I'm thinking that's what they're going with here because it's the monster folklore that natives. Native Americans and the Mayans and Aztecs that
makes sense.
on
that makes sense.
Through the years, and I'm hoping that's what we're gonna discover are these like native folklore and Mayan and Aztec gods.
You bring up a good point, Walter, because I also asked myself, is it really that there's no similar tone or connection here, or is it just that I am not used to seeing stories featuring a largely Mexican cast with Mexican mythos and character, like gods and goddesses. And I don't equate that with the feeling of Victorian era type stories. So maybe it's fine that it doesn't feel the same, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
and then we're all used. Sorry, go ahead, Earl.
Well, I also think that that's partially due to we don't see any connection from to actual characters from the the original series.
That's too.
But,
Except for Frankenstein. No, just kidding.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I just thought of that too. I was like, what if the connection is that really is Frankenstein's monster? He's still alive.
He became
right?
He became German.
And became German.
Well,
Frankenstein is German.
That's what I was thinking. I was like literally just
Frankenstein became like a Nazi.
Yeah. So
he survived.
Creative, children got married.
I mean, he could have been a because Frankenstein, I think, originally was supposed to be a Jewish character, like some scientist, and like.
No, I think he was Swiss, if I'm not mistaken, because I definitely remember them going to like the Swiss Alps. Yeah, like in the original one. So
because they go to the North Pole afterwards.
Yes,
so,
but in Penny Dreadful in the show, it was played by an English guy.
He's British, yeah.
So
yeah.
Who knows?
They put English actors in every European role.
I'm sure.
Every American role too.
Yeah.
So Neo, what did you think about that first episode?
I mean, there was so much setup in there. It felt like
there was a lot of setup.
Front loading all the setup, and I hope that's what's happening. So that's why it felt like it was like moving a little slow because we were spending a lot of time getting to know those characters, and like we're like dropping in all this interesting like Mexican folklore around Day of the Dead and these different pagan gods and such, and then Nazis, taking over LA in 1938 or trying to take over LA in 1938. So I mean, I think with Nazis especially, there's so much weird stuff and like Nazi like that happened within the Nazis, all these experiments they were doing,
stuff,
all this weird science they were doing,
body splicing,
all sorts of crazy shit. So I mean, the Nazis could end up having their
they were doing hereditary things like genetic race superiority.
Yeah, exactly.
But these
way
are
before. So
and in 1938, I was reading a little bit, like these are kind of based on factual or inspired by true events, that there were party groups that would like exactly what they're doing, like try to stop America or convince Americans that we shouldn't be involved in World War II or not get involved.
There was a lot of Nazi infiltration and going on in the United States. So
there's still like existing, if I remember correctly, like propaganda, like American films that speak against all that stuff,
So they're saying like, let's just let them all kill each other and we're not gonna get involved, or
more so like campaigning against that movement,
right?
Yeah, like there's
Against
some
the
you can
Help
find
Europe
on
movement?
you can find on
Against,
YouTube some
like,
old 1930s
Nazis.
and 40s like anti fascism
Right.
film PSA. It's basically
Yeah.
PSA, American
PSA.
PSAs.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
About
Yeah. The old
racism
reels,
and
right?
bigotry.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they were so influential and they were like kind of seditious and like in American society, like or insidious, I guess is the word.
Yeah, I mean, even Disney was making like anti-Nazi propaganda
They were.
animation
Yeah.
going through, you know,
Yeah.
like a Donald Duck cartoon that was like anti-Nazis, you know? So pay your
Yeah.
It's all the
taxes
same
to
era.
destroy the Axis and all sorts of stuff, you
Yeah.
know?
Your
It's like-
taxes to destroy the Axis.
yeah, that was, you
Wow.
could look that up and see that's a whole cartoon. So like,
Because I know Dr. Seuss was like anti-Japanese Americans. So,
Yeah.
my whole childhood is just
Yeah.
destroyed right now.
I did not know that.
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, he was very racist against. He was paranoid against
political
Japanese
cartoons.
Americans. That they should all be sent to concentration camps because they're all spying on us for the enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, which is
Oh.
not to get any more interesting U.S. history too. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
like as we were watching that in Penny Dreadful, I just thought how interesting it was because like you literally it reminded me of the U.S. Seditious Act and all that stuff, like where
Right.
Japanese Americans without proof were interned,
Mhm.
whereas you had German Americans who were actually doing stuff like some were interned, but not to the size of Japanese Americans.
Right.
And
Not
some
to
of them
the
were
extent
actually,
and not to the
right.
yeah, they were actually given trial or investigated. Where Japanese Americans were like, nope,
Just send them away.
go in there,
Yeah.
and we'll take everything you have.
So,
Yeah.
Neo, one of the things when we were watching it, we were trying to figure out what exactly Natalie Dormer is.
Is
Yeah.
like what?
Like,
Yeah.
Like, what do you?
The entity of Natalie Dormer.
Yeah.
Aside
what
from
do you-
hot,
No idea. I mean, she's just like, they're like, I'm here to spread chaos or something. I
Is
don't
she?
know.
I mean, she's obviously some kind of a supernatural being.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Has
Said that she was
She,
a
like-
sister of
Yeah, she is
Agent of
sister
Chaos.
of the. Who is that lady with
Santa
the?
Muerte?
Santa Muerte. Yeah.
So that's Santa Muerte. She's like the goddess of death,
right.
right?
yeah.
David-
I mean,
Like a
kind of like in
saint. Like
the
a
first
saint
Penny
of death.
Dreadful,
Yeah.
right?
She brings souls to the afterlife. Is
Yeah,
Gotcha.
like Lucifer and Dracula again.
what.
Oh.
Spoiler.
I know.
I haven't finished.
I haven't seen it.
I mean, if you haven't seen the original
yeah.
Penny Dreadful, that's on you. That's,
No, I mean I've seen it. I haven't seen a lot. I just haven't seen,
I haven't
all,
seen
of
all of it.
I haven't seen all of it, Walter. I guess.
yeah, but by season
Yeah.
2, they're already talking about it. It's-
Right, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Point.
Apparently, I didn't get to season
Yeah,
2.
I'm-
So.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there you go.
I
Sorry,
at this
guys.
point, I'm just like wondering about like the moral alignments of
Right.
Santa Muerte and like also the lady who Natalie Dormer plays, who we don't even know by name, right?
No.
We don't even
No,
know her
no.
name. We just know
She's
that she
playing multiple-
shapeshifts.
Yeah.
She's a
whispers in
scroll.
people's ears.
I wonder.
Absorbs children into her tummy.
I wonder if IMDb names her character.
I
Oh,
hope not.
it's on there.
What is it?
Sure.
Oh, well, her name's Magda.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's like-
we talked about this.
Eight
Oh,
characters,
there you
yeah.
go. Yeah.
See, I made the mistake of doing that watching Watchmen. I looked up the
You
cast.
saw it.
Oh.
Yeah, and they put the
Spoilers.
reveal on the IMDb page, and I was like,
Yeah.
why would you do this?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's a deification of like Mary Magdalene or something.
Maybe.
Because a lot of these things are kind of
The tempter.
entrenched in Catholicism, right?
Mhm.
A lot
yeah.
of it is,
Because
yeah.
the mom was praying to kind of like those saints,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
They're-
yeah,
amongst
it's like
other things.
like the occult kind of
It's occult type
Like
stuff.
Santeria.
Santa Maria,
Santeria.
Santeria.
Santana.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it seemed like a big setup episode, and I really hope it's gonna pick up a little bit. But
I'm sure. Well, yeah.
I'm sure it will. I mean,
There
the
is some
end, the end
parts.
was pretty crazy.
he
so-
shoots the guy in the head.
I know. I was like,
Spoiler
Did
alert
you
for
have to
everybody.
shoot him in the
Spoiler
head?
alert, spoiler
I
alert.
know.
Oh, sorry.
Boom.
Hey,
For
Neo,
everybody
what'd
who
you-
hasn't seen it yet, somebody apparently gets shot in the head at the end. No, I've
Oh
seen
no,
it.
sorry.
Sorry.
Neo,
Sorry.
No, I
what
had
do you,
Oh my God,
watched it,
spoilers.
just, not everybody probably else yet.
Sorry, guys.
what do you
Oh,
think about all her accents? Natalie Dormer's accent.
Yeah.
She had like Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of changed, didn't it?
She had like 3 accents. Like
She had her normal one.
Right.
There's the American one, and then
British,
there was
German,
the
and
German
American.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's quite a lot to do in just one episode.
Yeah.
Right.
Hats off to her.
Good diverse acting skill there.
Yeah.
So
So which one did you like the most, Neo? That's I guess what I'm asking. What'd you think of them?
I mean, I guess they were all good.
Judge her now.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked her American
British one,
accent.
I don't know.
I thought it was the most interesting.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was this very dated sounding accent.
Right.
I don't know if it's a bit of like
Yeah, because
Katharine Hepburn in there or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Transatlantic kind of.
Transatlantic, yeah.
That old Hollywood, LA,
dry.
1930s.
Yes.
Yeah. And for the people, like when we do put out our reaction videos to Penny Dreadful, City of Los Angeles or City of Angels, you'll see our reaction to all her accents and the other accents about the show.
We
Yeah.
comment on every single one.
Now
We
I gotta go
commented
back
on
through and
everything,
rewatch
yeah.
it to see that. I like to actually pay attention to
Yeah.
that. So,
I will say her American character was my favorite, and
I liked it
accent,
too. Yeah. It was just kind of cool.
What was interesting to me too? Sorry, Jen, go ahead. Because
I was gonna
totally
say-
change subject.
There is a I don't know if it's a loophole or like a story plot hole or something that I'm just
Right.
wondering about.
Mhm.
But like there's 2 different ways we've seen her influence people, and one is just by straight up whispering and they
Right,
just do
yeah.
it.
I was
And
going to talk
another
about
thing-
that. Yeah.
Is just like she like embodies herself as a human being and enters into a person's life to slowly win over,
Right.
you know. So maybe like one is like impulse like inspiration and another is like changing
Direct
course of
influence,
history over
right.
time. or
Right.
something.
Well, the part that kind of concerned me there was who knows? I hope they don't run into like plot holes by making this character OP because
Right.
she literally just had to whisper into someone's ear
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
start this thing. So I'm like, why don't you always just whisper
I
into
know.
Right. That's
So
what
that's why I was like,
I was like,
careful with
I
there
that.
are rules about that because like those
The
people
rules were weird. Yeah.
they were already perched on top of that impulse, and she
Yeah.
just kind of tipped them over the edge.
But
Whereas
was
the other
Right.
people-
was she invisible? Could everybody? Because
I
she was
think
just
she was
walking.
invisible.
I think she was
through.
invisible.
Yeah,
That's what
but
was
then
weird.
why not?
In her black leather. Yeah.
Right.
That's why it's always like, be careful when you mix like gods with mortals because stuff like that happens.
Right.
And then it just
Yeah.
becomes a little less believable.
And I feel like it's a cheat. Like
It's a total cheat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a Deus Ex Machina,
Yeah.
actually, if
Yeah.
you think about it.
Yeah.
That's the only
They did
thing
it
I
for
didn't like.
show though, because it's kind of impressive at the end. It's like sending all your Dothraki out
Yeah.
into the night. And I'm going like,
I don't remember that.
It looks cool.
Dothraki.
It looks fucking
looks really
cool.
cool.
We have the budget.
Dothrak.
You're like,
Yeah.
all right, why did we do that?
Well, okay. So the only
own up to it.
The only
Yes.
way I could see this maybe
God
making
damn
sense
it.
is if she can only do certain powerful acts at a certain time, or if she has enough power or energy or something. You see
You mean
what
like
I mean?
Spawn? Like she has a
Well, there needs to be
countdown timer?
something set in place so that she's not that powered.
Right.
all
There
the
has to be
time.
some kind of limit.
There has to be some kind of limitation. Otherwise, yeah. So I will be
I mean,
interested to see how
yeah.
they work with that.
I wonder if like she does this only for the short game, and then like the physical influence, like being actual people, is for the long game.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I wonder
Yeah,
about
don't know.
like that
I don't
part of
know.
her
Yeah.
whispering.
That was a little weird.
yeah.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
I feel like, yeah, it's one episode. I think the show has a lot of promise
I agree.
so far.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's going to be an entertaining watch at least.
Yeah, I just hope the pace picks up a little. It felt a little
Right.
slow at some points where you're just like, can we
A little
get to
repetitive. I can see that.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was saying that like it felt very meandery, like there was all this shit they were just trying to cover in the beginning, and then it came to a head.
Yeah.
Rodney, so are we? What are we? Are we going into our next section, or are we wrapping?
Yeah, let's go into the next section, and then I was just saying, move on to the next section. Yeah.
Cool.
Just wrap it the fuck up.
Shut up. But yeah, I don't know whether they're gonna drop the rest of the episodes on YouTube, but like we'll find a way to watch it, right? Anyway, our next thing we're gonna talk about is what is the first video game you fell in love with?
Yes.
Oh.
First video game.
I'm so happy about this.
Does anyone have one that just?
I will go.
Yeah.
So you all think I'm gonna say Pokemon, but
No, I didn't think you were going to say it. I didn't think you were going to say that.
really?
Dragon
Okay.
Age Inquisition.
That's the first game you played seriously, right? But
No, I've played games seriously before, but the first game I ever loved, and I was surprised to find on Neo's bio actually that you worked with Jumpstart.
Yes.
But I loved Jumpstart Adventures, the 3rd grade edition,
Oh.
Mystery Mountain.
Oh wow.
The thing is,
man.
this particular Jumpstart game got so popular that it's still being sold like 15 years later.
Wow.
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, it had this like futuristic kind of sci-fi, super narrative about like you play as this robot who's basically defying your master's daughter, who is like, this kind of, fascistic ruler of like her father's mansion, which contains all these like scientific discoveries and secrets. And you're basically trying to like, create portals to like bring robots back to the present and avert disaster or whatever. Like you're doing this.
Robots.
But in the meantime, it is meant to be like an educational game. So you do everything from like multiplication tables to learning about the biospheres of the Earth to
That's
like
insane.
studying astrology to like, doing logic puzzles. And it was insanely difficult. I was only like 6.5, 7 at the time. I'm sorry, I'm giving away my age. But I was like, yeah, I can take on 3rd grade. I know how to read 3rd grade books. And then I was really stumped. And it was the first time I had played a game and I rose up to the challenge. Because like every game has its like threshold of challenge. You know what I mean? And when you can finally get over that arc of the challenge, you feel like this surge of accomplishment that you can't get anywhere else. That's my personal take. So here's mine.
Cool.
So what was the name of it?
It's
Jumpstart
Jumpstart Adventures.
Jumpstart Adventures.
Third grade.
Third
Mystery
grade
Mountain. It's called Mystery Mountain.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting. It's very
Kind
specific.
of cute.
Oh,
Learning about the biosphere.
it was really cool.
Define falling in love. Like where you're just like,
Right.
I'm obsessed with this game.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay. I can't remember what came. I think the game that I was really just like really, really into was the game Bust a Groove on the original PlayStation.
Right.
Yeah. And
Nice.
this is before I think even like DDR came out. You just had to use the controller.
Yeah.
And I used to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because I wanted everything to match up. And the songs were really catchy. Back in the kind of late 90s, there was a re-interest in all things 70s music, like disco and flared pants.
Don't remind me.
Bell bottoms.
The bell bottoms, yeah. But then aside from that, I started really getting into Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Oh, yes.
But I started getting into late because that came out in like 98, but it wasn't until a few years later where I really just started reading through I had a Nintendo Power Special Zelda edition.
Right.
That unlocked all the secrets for Ocarina of Time. And so I would play it and I learned a lot of the songs on the piano.
Nice.
And yeah. Oh, all of them. I was like playing them on the piano, and then I wanted to have an ocarina so I could play the ocarina. Make it literally rain.
Nice.
As recorder.
Oh.
Can you play Song of Storms?
I don't know. I would need the notes for it.
Do, 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 do.
Pretty close.
You guys, we're nerds.
That's cool, man.
What's happening right now?
Gonna open up a portal and get sucked
Yeah.
in.
Actually had a big fat crush on Link.
Oh God, you did it.
Didn't.
Yeah. Oh, you too? Y'all too? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I had a big fat
The
crush
hero
on
of
Link.
time.
Yeah.
But
The hero
especially
of
when
time.
because in that one he
He grows
ages up,
up.
right? Yeah, to like
Right.
17.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a
He
Hercules.
was
thing.
17. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh my
all right,
God.
Link, I see you.
All right, Link, you're doing it for me.
Yes. Very much into
You want
Link.
to go first, Earl? Or you want me?
Well, I was gonna say another Zelda game, but
Okay, you can say it. 'Cause I was gonna say a
it's
Zelda
the
game
you
too.
love, man.
Yeah,
It's
which
the game
one?
you love.
The first game
original?
I really no, it was actually Zelda 3, A Link to the Past.
Oh yes.
Oh wow.
Okay, yeah.
It was the last overhead one before Ocarina of Time. It was one on the Super NES. But I played that game gosh, it must have been like 15 times or
Wow.
I played it a lot because I did really weird things. Like I would change my name just so it said like funny things. I would replay the game just to see that. And but yeah, I played it on SNES, then it came out on GBA. I have that version. I have it on my phone. That's how much
Wow.
Is that the one that goes da na da 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 da?
Well, that's the overture.
That's the
original
theme.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's one that goes. Da, 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 da. It's similar to that. Yeah,
Like that?
Yeah.
Just 2 notes. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Got
The
it.
Jaws theme.
It has this really grandiose opening when you.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Which is
God, I
basically
can't
what's
remember.
happening in Florida right now. People
What?
going on the beach going like, we don't care about sharks.
Yeah, it's all fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
everything is
man.
fine.
Everything's
A
fine.
link to, was that on the Nintendo?
Super Nintendo?
Super Nintendo.
Okay.
Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
It had that.
GBA, and then they had a port for I think it was on Virtual Console, and now
Yeah.
I have it on emulator on my phone.
Nice.
But the I remember I discovered something and I thought it was like super cool, but like apparently somebody had already discovered it. But if you keep on fucking with the cuckoos, the chickens, if you screw with them enough, like this entire flock of them comes down and attacks you till you're dead.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll
What happened
happen
to cuckoos?
in Ocarina of Time. Yeah, the
Yeah,
chickens.
it happens in Ocarina too. Yeah, as
Yeah, you
well.
just keep kicking
Oh
them.
my
and they just
God.
eventually
Right.
swarm
Forgot
you.
about that.
Yes.
Good times, y'all.
That's
Good
nice.
times.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
What a
yeah.
time to be alive.
What a
Go
time!
ahead, Neo. Since you said you're gonna do a Zelda title.
Oh, well, for me, it was the original Zelda.
Nice.
That one's da-na, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, the original Zelda and then the original Metroid.
Oh, dude,
Time,
that
those were
game
at the
is the
same
shit.
time.
Yeah,
And the
Justin
original,
Bailey.
Yeah, so it was like those two games played so freaking much. It was
Oh,
ridiculous.
here it
So
comes.
here it comes.
Here it comes.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
Oh no, don't mind me.
He's like, nah, fucking never mind.
oh no, he's just okay. He's just like waiting. We thought you were gonna give us a concert.
Yeah, I was like, oh man,
Got excited.
a build up. For
That's really high.
there you go.
Wow!
Nice.
We should do a video of this.
Yeah.
Like everyone play on an instrument or something.
Nice.
Do a band compilation video of us singing
Yes!
songs and then
Band geekery.
Band geekery. It's happening in
Band
quarantine, y'all.
geekery.
Yeah.
My video game that I fell in love with, I probably have to say, I think we talked about it last time. I said Carmen San Diego, but
It's so fun.
not to
That's a good
date
one.
myself, but it's the game that came out. I
Where
love playing
in
it
the
when
world?
it
Wait,
very
what?
first came out.
What was it called?
Shoots and Ladders.
Oh, Shoots and
No,
Ladders.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was like, is that a tabletop game?
When it first came out.
That's
It's
old.
I had to sing when I was a boy. It was called a cup and ball.
1934.
I was gonna say that shit's old. Yeah.
All in a cup.
So what is really the game?
Nowadays,
What is the
Super
actual
Mario. It's
Original Super Mario.
The
original
original?
Super Mario. Yeah,
Nice.
It's just like
I actually have that. Yeah.
I played it first. I put in a lot
You're
of
old.
time into that. Yeah, I was already graduating college when
Yeah,
Super
man.
Mario
That's
came out.
pretty
Yeah.
old.
Oh, holy shit.
Right, to those of you
I
who
feel
are
like a
that
baby.
age.
Yeah.
It's old, man.
People in chat are saying they loved Star Fox 64.
Yeah, Star
Fox
Fox.
is the
Oh my
shit.
gosh. A lot
Mario
of
3 is Mario 3 is my
yeah,
favorite
Mario
Mario
3 is the
game.
best, man. Yeah.
Nice.
That and I actually really love Super Mario World.
Do a barrel roll. Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
I actually had a Yoshi game that I really liked. You guys remember
Yoshi's
Yoshi?
Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Sorry, was that loud? Okay.
Jeez.
Did you
Yoshi's
guys
Island's
play
crap.
Yoshi's Island?
I have it on this computer right now.
Oh my god! Baby Yoshis.
Yeah.
That was really fun. Oh my goodness.
Aaron Nabis in chat. First game I was totally obsessed with was Street Fighter 2 arcade. Nice. Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Street Fighter, I remember when Street Fighter 1 came out.
Dude, yeah.
Oh,
when it was just Ken and Ryu.
Yeah, and it was just like beep, beep, just really basic. It's so good.
And it was so hard to bust a fireball or a shoryuken. It was so hard to do those.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and I just remember playing that in Feo Schwartz in San Francisco growing up.
Feo Schwartz. I haven't heard of that in many years.
And then,
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
Schwartz.
God.
Yeah.
like my friend was playing Ken, and he does a high kick, and I go low and just punch him right in the crotch. We were like, I was like, whoa, damn.
Crotch punch. That's an actual move.
Oh, man.
Crotch punch. Master Shake 2003. Man, Dalsim was my dude. Dalsim.
All seen.
Yeah.
Contra.
Contra.
Yeah.
My other one that I really loved back in the day, and this is kind of a weird one, is Maniac Mansion. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Maniac Mansion.
Oh, I don't
It was
know.
like a
like-
giant puzzle game.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
I would have loved
Not
that
really a puzzle,
shit.
but
I don't like puzzles.
multiple
I
endings.
love puzzle
They make
stuff.
me. Oh, okay. We're going on too long now.
Multiple endings, and like it was not really a puzzle game. It was kind of like King's Quest-ish more. So, but yeah. But it was just like
I liked Mischief Makers. I don't know if you guys ever played Mischief
know that.
Makers.
Sad.
It was an N64
Bandicoot.
game. Oh, was it N64? Maybe not.
Did you
No,
guys-
no, it wasn't N64. No.
Did you guys ever play like floppy disk games? Like I
Hell
remember
yes.
like
Way
Sort
back,
of.
yes.
Winter
Like-
Olympics where you like jump
Yeah.
off on
Hell
skis
yeah.
and then land.
Like Apple II GS.
I was playing on
Yeah,
those.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
World of Zine. That's
Yeah.
that's an old school one. Old school
Yeah.
RPG.
and Oregon Quest.
Oregon
Quest, yeah.
Oregon Quest.
Trail.
Oh my gosh. Altered
Speakers.
Beast was one of my
Altered
favorites.
Beast.
Altered
I love,
Beast. Yeah.
I love
Oregon
going to my
Trail.
friend's house
Genesis.
for that. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
This is- real quick.
This could go
Earl.
on forever.
Real quick.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to date me. I actually played the original Castle Wolfenstein or Wolfenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Wolfenstein
Wolfenstein
3D.
Wolfenstein.
on
remember
an Apple IIc.
Nice.
An
Yeah.
Apple IIc.
Yeah,
Not even a 2G, a 2C.
I don't think you were even born yet.
that's definitely aging me. But
I may have not have been born.
What's an
Even
Apple
I-
IIc?
That was
The
like
it's basically the
original
very
Apple
first one of the very
computers.
first like
Yeah.
desktop.
Second Apple computer,
an Apple computer ever made.
1980,
Oh, Apple IIc.
like a
Somebody
box.
just dated
The
themselves.
80s?
early
Yeah, it was the
80s, very
Early
early 80s.
Yeah, like
It's
that's like late
literally the
70s,
screen
early
was like
80s. Yeah.
This small.
Saw the
like,
Steve Jobs
big,
documentary.
Big 5 and a quarter discs.
I was already
anyway,
using it. It was freshman in college. Yeah, I was already using it.
Gotcha.
I could talk about video games forever, but like, unfortunately, that brings us to the end of this episode. Just want to give a shout out and thanks to Neo Edmund for being here. Thank you so much.
Thanks so
Super
much for
interesting
having me.
conversation.
Thank you,
Super
Neo.
fun.
Thank you, Neo.
You guys are super fun.
Dude,
yay.
this was a fun episode.
Yes.
I mean, all our episodes are amazing and fun.
God.
But this one in particular.
This one in particular,
They're all amazing.
much more fun.
You're killing me.
Just a quick shout
So
out to
this
chat.
episode is much more fun.
Everybody I see in chat: Master Shake 2003, Gabriel Bosco, Technicality.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Awesome, man.
Oddball, Kuda Marler, all you guys, thank you. Gabriel Bosco, thank you so much for being here.
Woo!
Come join us again next week, same time, Mondays at 8 p.m. Hit us up on all the socials at Pangeekery, that's Pangeekery. And we will see you all.
Read his books,
Later.
guys.